more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Hi everyone, this is Patty Conklin and Healing Within. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. I've got two wonderful people. I've been researching their website for the last hour and finding all sorts of interesting things, and I know you're going to enjoy it as well. Today's guests are Ariel and Shya Kane, and they're catalysts for instantaneous transformation. Since 1987, Ariel and Shya Kane have been catalysts for personal transformation of thousands of individuals, businesses, and organizations, including the United Nations Women's Guild and the United Nations Society of Enlightenment and Transformation, through their books, workshops, seminars, podcasts, and consulting work. Working together, they have offer a balance of perspective of both male and female points of view. So important. As a couple in a loving, satisfying, and thriving relationship, married for 24 years, the Kanes truly walk their talk. And everything I've been reading about them, I really do. Thank you so much for joining me, you two.
You're
thank you.
very welcome. Is it okay if I make a little correction?
Sure.
We must handed you over some old information. We've actually been married
35 years.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's happening now. Boy, that went fast. What's the last 11 years? It's fast.
That went very fast. That last 11 years.
Apparently, yes. I've got 24 years, 35 years. Congratulations! Wow, that's beautiful. And you know, you help so many more people by being a couple and having that female and male perspective. So important. And your bio was really fascinating. And I'd like you to kind of tell me where each of you started. I know you've been doing this, I think, since 1987.
Yeah.
But what was life like before for each of you? Ariel, I'll start with you.
Well, I've always had a passion for looking at what is possible, even in my youngest days. So the earliest memories of that was acting, where you step into, little plays, being in The Sound of Music, age 8, as one of the kids, where you take on a different reality than your own and you step into it fully and create it. And it led me on a search. I actually moved to New York City to become an actress, and I did. I worked in television, minimally in film, and on stage, and I kept looking. And at some point, my path crossed Shya. We got together, and interestingly enough, we did what was years later the thing called The Secret, where we visualized, and we got everything: the Park Avenue apartment and the friends and the career boost and the money and the relationship, and our life got very hollow. So we sold everything. Went and decided to go around the world, and we were at a meditation center for a couple of years, and that didn't do it. But eventually, Shya had this moment where he fell into the moment, and it was so profound that he forgave himself for his past. It was an instantaneous happening, and it instantaneously transformed his relationship with me. And in a moment, I became smarter. I became easier on myself. It was a very pivotal moment in our life. So that was my beginning.
Beautiful. Shya, how about you?
I was I was born. Maybe that's where it started. Your life argues for everything. It goes the way it goes, and you either see the opportunities that show up, or you're busy going somewhere. And for many years, I was busy going somewhere, trying to get what I thought would make me happy. I eventually, about 45 years ago or 48 years ago, took a seminar and was moved greatly by what I discovered about myself in that seminar. And then I started working for the company that produced it. I was trained to lead their seminars. I did that for many years. In fact, Ariel met me in one of the seminars that I was leading, that she was a participant in, although I didn't know it at the time. I mean, I found out afterwards that that's where she saw me for the first time.
Where I laid my eyes on him, so to speak.
Which she put her claim in.
In that moment. Because it's all about being in the moment. You didn't think about it?
No, he would. I thought he was arrogant. I'm like, who does he think he is? But by the end of that very first seminar, I was like, who is this guy? Because something in me clicked open where I was less trying to behave and more myself. I think people get so stuck trying to be a good version of themselves that they forget to just be themselves.
I totally agree. It's who we are now, not who we want to be or who we perceive ourselves to be. Yeah. So in developing your instantaneous transformation, what really brought you to the moment, Shya? What was there anything pivotal that created that?
Well, it was the culmination of a lifetime of searching and realizing at some point that I could only be exactly as I was in that particular moment of my life. And I stopped. In that moment, I realized, wow, that's perfect. I can't be different than I am right now. If I can't be different than I am right now, could I have ever been different in any previous moment of now? And I realized I couldn't have been. And in that moment, I forgave myself for a past that I really had no control over. We think we have control over our lives. We think we control our thoughts. But my experience has become that of seeing that we have thoughts, or thoughts have us, and they just run randomly, and we associate ourselves with those random thoughts as though they are the truth, rather than they're thoughts that we have that have been repetitive and have been going on since language factored into our infantile lives. And then we've been listening to those thoughts, thinking they're us, all the way along until we either end or realize that that's not us. And that's what happened for me. I realized my thoughts about myself weren't reality. They were just thoughts that have been repeating themselves. If you go up on Google and ask how many thoughts you have a day, it's going to say between 40 and 60,000.
Wow.
And the wild thing is 95 to 98% of them, it says, are the same ones we had the day before and the day before that. So we've been repeating our life story over and over. Problem is 80% of those thoughts are negative.
Right.
So maybe there's a way of disengaging from your thought to discover you're not those thoughts, and then you have some say in your life. Because if you believe what your thoughts say and have been believing them ever since you've been cognitive, well, then maybe you've been listening to the wrong book on tape.
Absolutely. One of the things I always say when I'm teaching is, you think you're in control. You're not. Get over it. That, you aren't who you were 10 seconds ago, 5 seconds ago. You are who you are right now. And that's kind of what I'm hearing from you, is that people do want to stick to their story and the thoughts about their story. And the reality is, they're just thoughts in that moment of the story. So how do you then go about with working with a client or a company to help them understand the moment of now and the thought process that they're in right now, and making it a positive thought process for those that are being negative?
Well,
I guess mainly we don't divide things between positive and negative, because that's change, and that's not transformational, at least in the way we look at things in our perspective. In change, you have good, bad, right, wrong, better, worse, positive, negative. In transformational approach, and by the way, we tend to finish each other's sentences, and I can see it starting to happen.
There's only the isness of the moment. There's what is, not whether what is good or bad. It's just what is. Mm-hmm. And when you take the positive and negative out of it and just see it for what it is, things resolve themselves without trying to figure out how to make it happen.
So we encourage people to adopt an anthropological approach. An anthropologist studies a culture, whether it's an individual or a business or a country. A culture, they study the culture to see how it's put together in a non-judgmental manner, in a non-judgmental framework. Mm-hmm.
And our approach is to see how you're being without judging yourself, which is almost impossible in the beginning, but you can get better and better at it. And
it seems incomplete, but really the simple seeing is enough, which in a little bit, and we can talk about this more if you wish later, but that it leads us to the 3 principles of instantaneous transformation, which really is the backbone or the basis for all of our work.
I would love to talk about that when we come back. Folks, you're visiting with Patty Conklin, Healing Within Me, and Ariel and Shya Kane, Instantaneous Transformation of Your Life. So we'll talk about more. We'll be right back, folks.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Shamanic healing is the key to personal empowerment. Why? All 4 levels of our being, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, must be addressed for us to enjoy balanced, healthy, abundant lives. Yet there are few provisions for spiritual or energetic healing. Shamanism, found at the root of all cultures, is a very effective spiritual healing modality. To find quality shamanic healing you can trust, regardless of where you live, look no further than Find Your Path Home Long-Distance Shamanic Healing Program. All Path Home long-distance healing practitioners have been trained and certified through Path Home Shamanic Art School. Change your life. Live abundantly. Schedule a long-distance shamanic healing session with Wilda Wieka or one of her quality practitioners today at findyourpathhome.com.
Hi everyone, this is Patty Conklin and Healing Within, and you are with me and my wonderful guests today, Ariel and Shya Kane, and we're talking about catalysts for instantaneous transformation. And I have to say, you two I live what you're teaching, and so I'm attempting to come up with questions from people who don't live this form of life of being in the moment. So feel free to add on, because it's a wonderful way to live, and I certainly enjoy it, and I know you do, both of you also. So we were talking earlier about the three parts to change, or the 3 ways of changing, Ariel, and you were sharing that. What would you share some more about that?
Well, let's start first, just in Shya and my definition of change versus transformation, because of course in the dictionary, if you look up change, a synonym is transformation. And
Look up transformation, a synonym is change.
Right.
But it's been our experience that change is past future oriented. It's incremental and takes place over time.
and involves effort.
It's linear. One thing follows the next. It's usually psychologically based, as in what happened in the past influences or prescribes your future. What else? Well, let's just jump to transformation for a second.
Okay.
It happens outside of time. So instantaneous transformation is actually redundant, because transformation can only happen in an instant. It isn't a gradual process. Change is process. Transformation is a quantum shift in the way you experience living, and it happens in an instant. It happens with a moment of clarity, perhaps. It happens actually when you get into the current moment of your life. And we've discovered the easiest way to access the current moment of your life is through listening. But not listening to see whether you agree with what's being said or disagree with what's being said, but actually hearing another person's point of view. It pulls you into the moment if you listen non-judgmentally.
So to the start, the precursor to the 3 principles of instantaneous transformation is, of course, listening, like fully engaging to hear what another person has to say from his or her perspective.
And we've been raised now, look, I'm 78, going on 79 in February, and I've noticed that this culture has changed so dramatically with the advent of computers and the internet and who knows what all else, that people's attention span is different. People's ability to listen, that people try to multitask. we've discovered that when you do one thing at a time and are really there for it, life becomes fulfilling. If you're doing multiple things, trying to get somewhere with the idea that something in the future is going to somehow fulfill you, you miss out on the current moment of your life, and there is no fulfillment even if you attain what you're after.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Now, dissatisfaction is sure to happen the moment you resist something. So the first principle is really a law of physics. For every action,
there's an equal and opposite reaction, or whatever you resist persists, grows stronger, and dominates your life.
And that's why if somebody at work is bothersome to you, or
you bring them home at night
bring them
and
home, that's what you wake up with. You don't wake up with all your wins from the day. You wake up with the thing you resisted. So what you resist persists, dominates your life.
Okay. Second principle is you can only be exactly as you are, and your life circumstances could only be exactly what they are in the current moment of your life.
And you were mentioning this before, Patty. 5 seconds ago, you were a different you than you are now. 10 seconds ago, you could only have been the way you were then. I sometimes think of this as the digital or the snapshot principle, because if we were to take a picture of us and all of the listeners who are listening in this moment, they could only be doing what they're doing where they are. We can only be here in our office, you in your studio. In any given instant, you can only be how you are, where you are.
And your life circumstances could only be what they are.
Right.
And while that one seems largely inconsequential, yeah, I can only be the way I am. But if you really get
that was the transformative moment in my life.
Self-recrimination, going back, having to second guess yourself just falls away. And we can give you an example of that in a minute. But third principle is this.
Anything you see without judgment completes itself in an instant when you see it. The only thing that keeps it around are your judgments for or against.
Mm-hmm.
So, quick example. In our first book, Working on Yourself Doesn't Work, we talked about this. We were working in Manhattan on the East Side, had open Monday evening groups. People could walk in, and a gentleman walked in who was a diplomat from the United Nations, and we actually didn't even know he was there. He was sitting in the back, and he was listening. And he was listening to hear what we had to say, and he didn't volunteer anything that evening. But we were talking extensively about the second principle, which is you can only be where you are in any given moment because you are.
And you cannot change the history of your past because that's what happened in that moment.
Right.
The next week he came back and he came up and he volunteered his name. We changed his name for the book. We called him Cecil, so to preserve his anonymity. And Cecil got up and said, I am a diplomat. I was out of my country when my mother died. And for the past 2 years, I have been so racked with guilt that I was not there when she passed. And this past week was the first time I had a full night's sleep. It fell away. He actually heard that he could only be where he was. And when he saw it without judging it, that pain just fell away in an instant and his entire life transformed.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So when people come to the awareness and the understanding that they are where they are, and I agree, the more you resist, it persists. When people let go of their need to judge, do they see that instantaneous? I mean, are they able to move into the ability to be now and not have that judgment? I mean,
transformation, the ability to be non-judgmental, it's paradoxical. Both are true. It happens in an instant, and cumulatively things are easier over time. So there are moments where you see things clearly. And then, of course, if you have an investment in your story, that can take back over.
Well,
Yes.
there's this thing. You've used the word understand a number of times. And transformation isn't about understanding something. More, it's about bypassing your understanding and go directly through experience. So you don't understand it, you experience it as a body sensation or as a taste or as a color. It's like you are in your life, not talking to yourself in your thoughts about your life. It's sort of strange. If somebody's walking down the street talking to himself, well, these days they usually have earbuds in.
Yeah.
But in days past, before that, if somebody walked down the street talking to themselves, you'd think they were nutty.
Right.
But we talk to ourselves all the time.
Our lips just aren't moving.
That's right. We're ventriloquists. Our internal conversation plays and plays and says, should I, shouldn't I, did I, didn't I? It's never just allowing you to be.
And let's go back to the question about being judgmental or non-judgmental. It's really not about being non-judgmental. We are all extremely prejudiced. We like things, we dislike things. We have hardwired in certain types of people who we have less affinity for. It's not about getting rid of those things.
Well, in the first 2 years of your life, you absorb the culture that you grow up in. You learn the language of the culture. You understand the way the culture functions. You integrate with it, and it becomes your normality.
And if you resist it and resist aspects of it that in your heart are not true to you, if you resist those aspects of your culture, your cultural background own you. So it's really the third principle. It's seeing it without judging it. It's seeing when you have that automatic,
visceral
response or nasty thought that comes by out of the blue. Or if you see it, you don't have to be it.
If you see it, you don't have to do anything about what you see either.
Right.
Not, now I have to do something to make me a better person. No, it's just, oh, look at that. I just had that thought.
We sometimes joke and call our approach the slack-jaw school of enlightenment.
Because there used to be schools called the clear-eyed school of enlightenment. And so we came up with the slack-jaw school of enlightenment.
Slack-jaw, I love it.
Slack-jaw. You see something that you did and you go, huh.
Look at that.
Rather than, oh, I'm bad. Oh, I'm getting better. Oh.
Right. Going back and forth between those two. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. This is definitely, I'll use the word enlightening. We'll see how that flows when we come back. Folks, you're visiting with Ariel and Shya Kane and Patty Conklin, Healing Within. We'll see you in just a minute.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Hi everyone, this is Patty Conklin, and you're with me and my guests today, Ariel and Shya Kane, and I'm learning all sorts of redirection in my languaging. And I thought I was pretty good in my languaging, but I'm going to take some things to heart. You know, we were talking earlier about the first 2 years of our life, and how so many people embrace that as their story moving forward, and or not embrace it or make judgments of it. And you know, I've talked about this on other shows that, you know, I grew up in an alcoholic drug family, and I remember as a child just observing them, and it wasn't, oh gee, this is horrible or whatever, but the observation thereof. And I moved out when I was 12. Because I realized that that was not the life that I wanted to live for myself. And so I decided I was old enough and mature enough, and went off on my own path, and truly stayed there. I know that when I work with some of my clients, they really want to hang on to that past and be angry, or, you know, whatever emotion is coming up in the moment. And making it about, well, I didn't have a good base, and I always say it doesn't matter whether you had a good base or not. Where are you now? When you look at forgiving parents, you know, how do you help people, because so much is writing on their life story about their early childhood. How do you help them move into that transformation?
You want to play, Patty?
Sure.
Okay. Be different than you are right now.
Oh, too late. Now went by.
Okay. Now look, I know that you're in control of your life, so be different than you are right now. Too late.
Right.
Okay. So do you think you can be different than you are in the current moment than you are?
No.
Okay. That's good. An hour ago, could you have been different than you were an hour ago?
No.
Good. Could you then have been different in any previous moment of your life?
No.
So
Great.
Does that extend to your parents as well? Could they have been different in any moment of their life?
No.
Well, there you have it.
There you go. You go. Yeah.
Really, it's that simple. You know, we've been raised in a psychological paradigm, which professes that we are broken by our past, and our future is thus determined by our past going forward in time. That is not the case when you discover how to access and live in the current moment of your life.
Yeah.
But it requires giving up something that a lot of people don't want to give up, and that's being right. Being right about the story of their grievances, blaming other people for how they feel or how their life has shown up. I mean, you know, if you are responsible for your life, well, then let them go. They're not the ones who did it to you. And look, I was a kid. You know, now I'm an old kid. Once I was a young kid. And when I was a young kid, my parents, in their desire for me to have a good life, told me things not to do. Guess what?
Yeah.
I did those things.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so, you know, it's so convenient to have somebody to blame for how you feel. But, our bodies are made up of billions of cells and
Right.
systems of, digestion and respiration, circulation, all this stuff, a muscular system and a skeletal system. And there are feelings in this beast. And the feelings are not based on things that are going on outside. They're internal feelings. But we've been taught to blame how we feel by looking out and finding what caused it outside of ourselves, rather than realizing, look, you have emotions. They show up from time to time. Not good, not bad, just emotions.
Right.
And so we've been programmed by the culture to complain about our parents as though they're the bad guys.
I totally agree. I mean, everyone is who they are. And my children and I, as they were growing up, I would say to them, they'd say, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm like, you know what? You've got 10,000 different ways to go from point A to point B. You choose. If you don't like the road that you chose, then choose again and just kind of play around with it and just be who you are in the moment. And I'm not going to give you a yes, do this, or no, don't do this. Make your own decisions, because you are intelligent beings and you're in touch with yourself. I think that that's so important for people, is to let go of that desire to rationalize where they are in their life right now versus where they were
there's
years ago.
Interesting and still timely quote I love of Buddha's that is so relevant for people who are still hanging on to things that their parents did.
Mm-hmm.
It's holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
So true. I've never heard that quote, but it fits, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, yeah. then we won't tell you that Buddha said it. We'll say we said it.
Well, we just said it. Buddha did it first, but
that's right. But you just said it. That's right.
I'm certain, like your example, people have some circumstances, some families and some upbringings are certainly more challenged than others. But also largely things that we remember from our childhood include the perspective of the person we were at that time.
Yes.
And we once worked with a woman, we were invited into a theater school. The director had hundreds of kids there. We went there to work with them on being in the moment and how it could bring their acting alive. And we knew that if they were resisting one or the other of their parents, they were going to be impaired in their ability to be fully themselves. So we concocted a game and we had them move around as if they were in a cocktail party, and they would pretend to be the parent they most resisted and go up and introduce themselves as that parent. And the director of the school came along, and she came up and introduced us to
Ted,
her father, who was this awful, mean person. And he was a military man and gruff with his kids. And
he was in the Second World War. And, oh, by the way, this school was in Hamburg, Germany.
Where
she moved to Germany because she was so at war with her father for being a pilot during the Second World War.
So as we met Ted, we looked him in the eye and said, oh, you were in the war.
What was that like for you?
Were you afraid? And she her face shifted and she said, every moment of every day.
I was terrified.
And I felt so afraid and so responsible. And suddenly, I'm getting goosebumps now, it was such a transformational moment that when the game was over, she came over and said, I never realized how frightened my dad was, what a big heart he had, how all of his actions were dictated by trying to keep us safe. Like, her total relationship with him shifted in that moment. And she later told us she called him and they just had a brand new conversation. They didn't need to apologize to each other. They just suddenly were in relationship for the first time in their lives.
Right.
You know something interesting. Ariel and I have been together 37 years, and each day I discover her newly, not taking for granted anything I ever discovered before about her. And it happens because we listen to each other and not agree with each other or disagree, but actually hear what the other person is saying.
Yeah.
And that is an extraordinary tool, if you will, but it isn't done as a doingness. It's a way of being. See, transformation really isn't an self-improvement game. It's a lifestyle of being where you are rather than rushing off to some fantasy of what's going to make you happy someday. Because even if you get what you want, if you're not there in this moment, you're not going to be there in that moment.
Totally agree. So how does truly listening figure into your approach? I mean, let's say you've got you've been given 10 invitations to different seminars around the world, and as a couple, how do you listen to, this is where I'd like to go, this is where I'd like to go, or are you so in sync that doesn't even come into the conversation? You can only do 6 of them, but you've got 10.
Generally,
if you had used an example like places to go fishing, you would have
or where to go to dinner.
You would have more of a, like going off to lead seminars. We do it, but it's not our. Yes.
I would go back seriously when I was reading your bios. I'm an avid fisherwoman, so I really related to that, and I'm also in the anthropology program at Harvard, so I related to both of you right away. Okay, so let's go to fishing. We'll go to Ariel when we come back. We'll use that segment of your fun stuff versus work stuff. But
just to brag on Ariel in the next 10 seconds, she has 5 current women's world records for fish caught on a fly rod.
I saw that, and you made the flies, correct?
Of course.
Of course you did. Folks, I'm with Ariel and Shya Kane, and this is Patty Conklin and Healing Within. We'll see you in a minute.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Hi everyone, this is Patty Conklin and Healing Within, and my guests today are Ariel and Shya Kane, and we're having a great talk and you know, 5-time world record fishing. Yes, Ariel, that's awesome.
It was probably 10 times, but some of them have gotten broken. Yeah.
That's still awesome. Yeah, where can people find you? What's you've got radio shows, you've got lectures, workshops? Yeah.
The easiest way to find us is through our website. It should be easy to remember. It's transformationmadeeasy.com. And our podcast is called Being Here. And on our website, you can access either the show live, which ours airs on Wednesdays.
And we've been doing it for, we have 650.
Yeah,
so
650
almost 13 years now.
So
Beautiful.
There's a lot of different possibilities there.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's take the fun thing first and then the business thing second, because I know, not that it happens for me, but I know that because I'm not in a relationship, but for most people, deciding where to go have fun, or if you're in business together, what to do from a business standpoint, there can be differing opinions. How do you come to decisions when you're in the now, when you're in the moment?
Well, for one thing, it doesn't matter if it's business or if it's play, we listen to each other. That's really key. Another thing that's really key is being kind to ourselves. So if you're kind to yourself as a basis, then you trust yourself. Then, of course, there's a level of trust that gets extended to the person that you are in relationship with. If you don't trust yourself, then the person that you're in relationship with is always dubious. It's like, what are they doing with me?
Right.
And we've also practiced looking at the difference between being right and being alive. Because there was actually one time, it's in 2 of our books actually, where we were going into the city, we were close on time for a seminar. We could either check into the hotel or go directly to the seminar and check in later. And Shya thought we should check into the hotel first. I thought we should go to the seminar first. And coming in the Lincoln Tunnel in New York City, one choice made us turn left and one choice made us turn right. And it was really about when Shya said, we can get it all done, that I listened to him and said, okay, that's my choice. And when we did it, I looked at how to make the lights, how to have it be perfect. And if we had not had time for dinner before the seminar, which was one of our concerns, that would have been perfect. We would have gotten hungry and then we would have eaten later. It's about going about whatever you're going about as if it's your idea, as opposed to they're secretly doing it to you.
And so many times people victimize themselves. Well, what movie do you want to go to? Oh, I'd rather go to that one. Okay, we'll go to that one. So you go to that one, and then you find fault with the movie and say, oh, we should have gone to mine.
Yes.
And that's because there's not a wholehearted investment in what you're doing with the intention of having it work out perfectly. And that may be you go to the movie one of you suggests and you both agree, boy, we didn't really enjoy that movie, but it was an excellent time being together.
Right. Right.
And interestingly enough, Patty, we've generally found really that in any choice point, one of us really doesn't have that strong of an opinion either way, and the other one generally has a really strong gut about it, a hunch, and we follow that one.
Now, if we were fighting, then we would play the victim right-wrong game
and keep a list
of all the transgressions.
Okay,
and
we
all
went
the
to
time,
your movie last time.
Yeah.
So it's my turn.
Yes.
So true. It's so true, isn't it? I've always kind of looked at it of, I give my opinion. If a different opinion or decision is made, then in that moment that I agree to go do something else, that I then accept that was my decision also, because it was. I decided to go. And so you can't go into a victim place. You can't go into a blame game of, oh, gee, last time, we went with yours, because once I agree, then I'm moving my place into an acceptance moment of that's my idea also. Well, it seems to make life a lot easier.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because it's great that you can do it. But I guarantee you, most people hear acceptance. I move into acceptance.
Yeah.
That hidden underneath accept is this begrudging.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't notice that they have a little begrudgement under there.
Right.
So they're not just, it's like, okay, I accept, we'll go. There's a little like, it is what it is.
It's a little succumbing. We have in some of our books the definition between surrender to your life and succumb to your life. When you surrender to your life, you do it, whatever it is you're doing, as though it's your idea.
Yeah.
Dishes, making love,
That's
going
all the
for
same.
a walk. It's all the same.
It's all the same.
But when you succumb, you do it and then complain that you have to. Silently to yourself or out loud.
Okay, I'll do it.
I'll do it. Yeah, no, I totally agree on the surrender. That it's a moment of surrender and not succumbing, because then you can do I'll do it, or I have to do it, because then we're right back into the victim state. Then we haven't moved any further, even though we agreed with another person. So I want to ask you about moving into the blame game in your book, Practical Enlightenment. And so what I find is so many people don't understand when they're blaming. they're not aware that they're actually in a blame or a victim place. How do you help people understand that?
Well, it goes back to an anthropological approach, in that we have been trained to think other people cause our discomfort. It's if you were to, this is a really awful thing, but I will do it anyway. Most of us blame the trigger on a gun. You pull the trigger, the bullet goes, bam. But if the bullet does not have the primer or does not have the charge, the trigger happens over and over. You just get click, 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 and the bullet goes nowhere. We are all pre-charged. There are plenty of things that are in our environment that trigger us, but we want to blame the trigger rather than looking at our internal charge, of course, in a non-judgmental manner.
Right. That core issue that comes up in that non-judgmental, and people really do judge themselves. That self-judgment comes over and over again because maybe they don't want to blame someone else, and then they put themselves in their own victim role. So it's so important in my mind for people to understand that every choice they make is theirs. I often equate it to watching a sunrise, that if you don't have the ability to think or to hear or to speak, and you just have your eyesight, then a sunrise is just a sunrise. It has no other meaning other than the words and thoughts that you give to it. And I tend to look at life like that my words are going to give whatever moment I'm in the emotional core base that's going to store inside my body. So when you're give me a real quick thought on a challenge, a client. I won't even say a challenge. A client that maybe just continued to stay in the victim role. Do you let them go? Do you stay with them? What do you do?
I would say they probably let us go. We're really uncomfortable to be around if
you want to blame other people for how you're being, well, go right ahead. We don't try to fix or change people. That's the other thing. We really don't have an intended result that we try to produce with people. What we do is we hang out with people
and follow the moment, and see where it takes us.
We're not trying to produce a result called change. And when you don't try to produce change, transformation sneaks up on you.
Absolutely. You're not pre-planning. I get that all the time when people are like, you won't pre-plan. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm going to be looking at when I go into this seminar. And if I pre-plan what I think they need, then I'm not paying attention to what they need. And and I'm not allowing things to happen. Yeah,
that's true. You're right on.
It's like trying to make a soup and not knowing what your ingredients are going to be.
That's right.
So you can plan a tomato-based soup, but if you have no tomatoes, that's a silly plan. So
that's a silly plan. Yep. You go by my cooking too, huh? Yeah. So folks, this is an incredible couple, and I think that I know that if you want some straight talk and just get their views or not even views. I'm not even sure that that's the correct terminology. When you want instantaneous transformation, look up Ariel and Shya, Kane, and allow yourself the experience of shifting. 30 seconds, folks. What do you want to leave our audience with?
We have lots of videos. We have audios.
Be kind to yourself.
And you can access it through our site, transformationmadeeasy.com.
And be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
If I were to give you any advice at all, it would be to be kind to yourself.
I like that.
Be kind to yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much, folks. Take care. It's Patty Conklin and Healing Within.